Welcome to Scarlet Conversations, a series of mini devotionals for women on the go. We hope these short videos help you connect with the voice and heart of God as we prepare ourselves to transition out of life in lockdown and deeper into lives of mission on the earth.
Welcome back, ladies, to week 3 of Scarlet Yarn, Scarlet Conversations. This series, we're looking at the life of Moses and really the early stages of his life up until the point of where he leads his people into freedom across the Red Sea, where they cross over. And so we've called this preparing to cross over, looking at stuff that maybe we could garner from the life of Moses and learn for this season as we prepare to cross out of lockdown. So we've already looked at the early parts of Exodus chapter 1 and the first part of chapter 2, setting the stage for Moses' birth. And then this awful moment where Moses' mother has to surrender her baby over to the river, over to God, trusting that he is writing this story and that he is good and faithful. And so that's really where we have finished off. And today I want to pick up now chapter 2, verse 11. And this really sees Moses now coming of age. And it's a transitional period for Moses where he is propelled by circumstance into the rest of his life. Read with me then from chapter 11 of verse 2. One day when Moses had grown up, he went out to his people and looked on their burdens, and he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his people. He looked this way and that, and seeing no one, he struck down the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. When he went out the next day, behold, 2 Hebrews were struggling together. And he said to the man in the wrong, "Why do you strike your companion?" And he answered, "Who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you mean to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid and thought, "Surely the thing is known." When Pharaoh heard of it, he sought to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and stayed in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled their troughs to water their father's flock. The shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and saved them and watered their flock. When they came home to their father Reuel, he said, "How is it that you have come home so soon today?" They said, "An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and even drew water for us and watered the flock." He said to his daughters, "Then where is he? Why have you left the man? Call him that he may eat bread." And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses his daughter Zipporah. She gave birth to a son, and he called his name Gershom, for he said, "I have been a sojourner in the foreign land." So we see Moses coming of age, growing up in the palace of Pharaoh, but obviously aware of the fact that these were not his people. But I'm sure he had a very pleasant upbringing in the luxury of that environment. I want you to go back to verse 11 though. This is really interesting to me, where it says, "One day when Moses had grown up, he went out to his people and looked on their burdens, and he saw." You know, you cannot change what you tolerate. Isn't that just a truth? And sometimes I think we become so accustomed to the culture around us, to the status quo, that we just get used to the way things are. We don't challenge them. We don't stick our heads up above the parapet. We don't say anything because that's just the way that life is. That's just the way the culture is these days. But actually, my prayer in my own life is God, would you give me eyes to see the stuff that breaks your heart? Break my heart for what breaks yours. Make me aware. Make me have your perspective, that I can see the stuff that isn't right, that isn't the good order of your kingdom, that isn't just, that isn't bringing life to people, that's oppressing people. And help me to have the courage to change it. Help me to have the courage to, in a given moment or a conversation, change the atmosphere, change the direction, challenge even what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, and to bring your good order, your good way, your justice where there is injustice, your healing where there is brokenness. And we see that in Moses. He maybe doesn't go about it just quite the right way. When he does see injustice, he ends up killing an Egyptian. But there is something in him that when his eyes were opened, he could no longer tolerate injustice. And that is my heart's cry for each of us, that we would enter into a season of really being upset by the stuff around us that isn't good, that isn't of the order of God, and that we would be compelled to do something about it. Well, it's interesting, Moses' response, because it's long before the burning bush. But long before the burning bush, the passions that were bubbling up in Moses were clues to his calling. We see here a man who is compelled by compassion. He is a defender. He is bringing justice. When he comes upon Zipporah and her sisters, he can't help himself but defend them too. He shepherds them, protects them, provides for them, looks after them. How interesting that those are all things that God asks him to do for his people when he does have the burning bush moment. They were present in Moses before that encounter. And I really just want to encourage you that we sometimes live for the burning bush moments. We all do it. We go to conference or we go to church and we just hope that the pastor or preacher or prophet, whoever it is that's speaking, sees us, calls us out and says, oh, God sees you. He knows you. He sees this over your life. He wants you to do that with your life. And those aren't bad moments. They're great moments. They're moments to be celebrated and to be written down and to be treasured. But we don't have to live for those moments. There is an invitation from the Father heart of God to partner with Holy Spirit to do the hard work of looking inside of each of ourselves and actually discovering the stuff that God has woven into the fabric of our makeup. Who He has spoken over us, whispered over us that we are meant to be. What is the God stuff that He's placed in us, uniquely shaped us to carry and then release and give away on the earth? That's the stuff of gold. That's the stuff of life. That's the stuff of adventure in relationship with Jesus. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with burning bushes, but I think we need to stop living for them and start just hunkering down, asking God to reveal to us in this moment what it is that He would love to release on the earth through us. Much like Moses, I think if we do that hard work, that hard soul work, we'll probably find that the stuff that makes us passionate, the stuff that ticks our boxes, the stuff that puts a fire in our belly, that is the stuff that God would love to draw our attention towards. And He'd love to release us, to release that on the earth. So have a think about that this week. God, what are you speaking over me? What have you hidden inside of me that's to be a reflection of you on the earth? And then ask for bravery and courage to give it away. It'll be the best adventure of your life. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us for this week's Scarlet Conversations. Join us on Tuesday night at the same time as we share a conversation with a special guest that helps unpack and build upon the themes we are exploring together. If you have any questions or thoughts, let us know in the comments and we'll get back to you. Until then, God bless.